Hello everyone, how are you doing? Forgive the infinite inception here, I just need to see what the camera actually looks like. Is it centered? No, it's not. Of course not. It would never be centered. There we go. Okay. Forgive me if I have a little bit of a cough. I don't know. This is like the worst timing ever. But my throat is dry and like empty on the day that I'm supposed to be recording lines for my video, so I'm just really hoping I can power through, because I will not have another chance to record the lines in like 2 weeks, so hopefully I can like stretch my vocal cords by talking to you guys here and force my voice to actually sound correct. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Hi Toffee. So sorry that you don't get to hear the audio of the dog eating an egg. Unfortunately, that's not becoming a standard practice of these streams. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna let Zith message me up to, like, an hour before stream. I'm gonna block them every time and then unblock them later, just so that they can't tempt me with weird Twitter videos that I forget will play through the stream audio. Hey there, Jaspers! How you doing? Alright, so, yeah, so I don't know, for the people who aren't familiar with the actual structure of this project right now, I've been making a voxel game for a long time, like 6 years, and I've mostly been doing it just as like a passion project, with the hopes of one day releasing it as a full game, but pretty much just on my own. Like, I've not been paid to do it, I'm not being directed to do it, it's a hobby project that I want to make into a real game. Oh, we're on debug mode, aren't we? Hold on, let me fix that. Because that is not gonna work very well. Yeah, so this project has been pretty much a passion project for most of the time I've been working on it. But this semester, which is, like my final year in university, I realized that I could actually work on it for school credit. There's a thing called a self-directed study, which you can do, where you declare something that you want to work on, and if it's complex enough, then they'll assign you a professor, or, well, more specifically, you have to reach out to a professor and ask if they're willing to do it. And then you can work on the project, and if you accomplish your goals, then you get credit. And so far, I have been very far behind on my goals that I'm supposed to be accomplishing. I had a meeting with the prof, like, yesterday, and he was okay, like, you know, he wasn't upset at me, but he was also like, you're aware that the deadline's in 2 weeks, right? And I was like, oh, right, yeah, I totally remember that. So I kind of locked in last night, got a fair bit of work done. So a lot of that has been laying out the actual definitions for the different structure attachments. Oh, actually, yeah, I should probably talk about what the study is. So my goal for this study that I'm working on is to build a structure system somewhat similar to Minecraft's structure blocks and jigsaw blocks and whatever, but that can use programmatic counters to constrain the designs to make them more, like, intentional and less kind of sprawling and random. Like, Minecraft structure blocks are quite powerful, but they have this weird thing where they can't really be constrained very effectively. Like, the only way to randomize what rooms a structure creates are probability based. So you can create like attachment points that have probabilities to spawn other structures, and one of those structures can just be like a termination, like where it stops spawning anything. But you can't really constrain the size of the total structure if it has recursion, like if one structure can spawn itself again, other than just setting the probabilities and hoping that it conforms to your expectations, or by just relying on the fact that Minecraft has a theoretical maximum size for structures no matter what, which is hard-coded from my understanding. So I've been working on a structure system that is very similar to Minecraft's, but has a, like, specific important permutation to it, which is that it has a concept of counters. So any structure piece that generates can define a counter that's available to all of the substructures that are generated from it. And for the game to actually commit a structure to the world, all counters have to be zeroed out by the end of its generation, which allows you to do things like have a rooms counter that you initialize to some random value in a range between, say, like 15 and 20, and then every room that you place can decrement the counter, and then, you know, if the dungeon can be laid out so that there are, like, however many rooms as you specified, then it'll commit, and if it can't, then it'll retry a different organization of rooms to see if it can get that layout, to get those constraints. And if it can, great, and if it can't, then it will eventually just stop. It'll give up. Which means that we won't generate structures that don't have the constraints that we want from them. Yeah, so basically, the way that that's working is it doesn't work yet. I've been working a lot on technical stuff for making the engine actually function. Like, for example, I recently realized when I started working on getting the structures to generate that I didn't have the support for, like, rendering entities, like this wireframe, and that ate up, like, 2 weeks of getting entity rendering to work again. So most of the work on this project has been behind-the-scenes stuff, like getting the world manipulation commands to work, getting entities to render, allowing file system access so I can actually save and load structure pieces for later, and not very much has gone into actually making the system, which is not scope creep, but tech debt, if I've ever heard of it. Like, when I initially planned to make this system, I was like, oh, it's gonna be easy, the actual code for it is super small. And then I didn't really think about the fact that, oh, there's so many things in my engine that don't actually work, you know, that don't work yet, that I need for this to be made. And yes, the actual system is quite simple, it's quite elegant, and it's, like, minimal amount of code, but getting everything else to work around it to let it happen is shockingly intense, so yeah. Do you use a separate render path for the bounding boxes? So there's a chunk pass and an entity pass, and the render, or the bounding boxes are considered entities. They are actually modeled like they are, cubic. There's, like, 12 cubic things that make up the line segments. They're not, like, an actual OpenGL wireframe, because those are super, super deprecated. So yes, they are in a separate render pass because they're in the entity paths, but, like, there's not, like, a just wireframes render pass. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Ingest. My voice is weirdly dry today, so, I appreciate it. Okay, so... Right. So, to, get everything working, I guess I should show what I have so far. So, currently, you can create structures and save them and load them. So if I make just, like, I don't know, a weird little tree structure, and then I go copy, and then save trees, then that will actually be committed to a flat file. Let's go to trees.schematic.json. This is all of the data for that structure. And then if we go and load trees and paste it, then we'll get another copy of it. Wow. Oops. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so we're able to paste structures, which is, you know, generally a good thing. We're able to serialize them to a file, which is good. And then, most recently, we worked on a metadata system. So, the way that Minecraft's structure system works is it basically works off of a series of attachment points. So a structure can define another point where, like, some random structure from a pool can be generated and attached to it. And although in the data those aren't blocks, in the game they are represented as specific blocks that you can configure by pointing at them and interacting with the GUI. And I wanted to have a similar system because I wanted you to be able to edit the structures in game, because, you know, the game is the only editor I have. I don't want to end up creating, like, a separate tool for building structures, because that would take me another 6 years, probably. So I recently created these attachment blocks, reminiscent of jigsaw blocks, of course, and then origin blocks as well. And the origin is going to define the structure. It's going to be somewhere in the structure, and that's going to be basically the beginning of its placement. So you can place these attachment blocks at points in the structure, and then define a pool for what structures it can generate. And it will generate the structure with the origin at the attachment block's position. So it will basically place new structures at that location, and replace and it'll start where the origin is in the substructure. And these blocks currently don't do anything yet, but they do have data. I can do meta-get, and you'll see that it prints out some information that it has within it, which is a new thing. We didn't previously have a system for storing metadata at all, which was a problem. We can also set the metadata, so I can go set, and then, I don't know, replace with Zeus default grass 5. And then structures still 0. And I fucked it up. Expected property name or... Okay, I fucked up the JSON. Hold on. Metaset, replace with Zeus default grass 5. Structures. I think I just forgot the quotes. No! Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, yeah. I changed the format of these blocks, and I don't actually remember it. So, if I go to the meta, or the attachment, or let's go to origin. So this is the block, and its definition is replace with and assignments. And assignments are basically for assigning counters, which are variables for the structure. And then replace with is what block it gets replaced with when the structure is created. So if I go metaset replace with Zeus default grass 5, and then assignments empty array. There we go. We were able to set it. Fantastic. Okay. And now if I do meta-get, we can actually see that it has the grass 5 property in there. So we were able to set it, and that is persistent. If I place another block and then I go meta-get, it does not have the same property. But if I go back to this one, meta-get, it does have grass in it. So basically, that is going to be the mechanism that we use for now to actually manipulate these blocks, which I know is incredibly unergonomic, but I don't have menus that work properly yet. So, yeah. Oops, I stopped the music. Come back, music. Dracomatic says, not Minecraft? Nope, this is my own voxel engine that I've been building for 6 years. I know it looks very much like Minecraft right now. It's because I've been focusing very hard on the technology and not the actual game content. This engine's built in C++, and it basically has built-in support for modding, in the sense that every piece of game content, all of the blocks, all of the entities, all of the interactions, even the player movement, is scripted using JavaScript and read by the engine, and anyone can create mods for any other game and interact with, like, existing mechanics. Yeah, so we have the ability to set data on these blocks, and we have the ability to save structures and load them again. The next step would be, when we save using a specific command, we want to actually find whatever structure blocks are in the array, and then parse their data and turn them into attachment points and replace them with the block that they are meant to be replaced with. So this house one that I placed, the origin here, when we save it as a structure, it should save its origin, and it should save the data in the origin block, but then it should replace it in the array with a grass block. So, JavaScript modding API is so real, to be honest. Yeah, it's pretty good. I really like JavaScript as a language. I think that it's a lot of fun. I also just think it's way better than a lot of the other scripting languages that exist. Like, I started with Lua, and Lua is not a very good framework, I think, for modern game modding. The fact that it has, like, no scoping or proper imports is just super lame. So, yeah, so we have the ability to save metadata, and we have the ability to save structures, and now we need to combine the two into an unholy abomination that takes the data out of these blocks, and then removes the blocks from the game. So, one sec. Oh no. Ah! Hold on, I think I did something horrible. One second. Shoot. I accidentally did a thing. No. Okay, I will have to check that later. Because I just... Yeah, okay. Okay, so, whoa, is there grass on the house blocks too? Oh, yeah, okay. So, so the way that the grass works, it's actually a rare arrayless stream. I've been doing it again recently. I just took a very, very, very long break. Yeah, so, hold on, I just need to send one quick message because I fucked up. So the way that the grass blocks work is they have a bunch of conditional, points and faces. So if I go into wireframe mode, I guess that's actually very hard to see in wireframe mode because wireframe uses the texture and there's almost no texture here. Intix says yay blocks, hi. So if I open the actual mesh in Blender, I remember a couple streams ago I tried to show a mesh in Blender and then I found out I didn't have Blender, which was funny because I keep resetting my computer like an idiot. Let's go into Open, Code, Zephyr, Games, Zeus, Mods, Zeus Default, Assets, Models. I'll get there eventually, I swear. I think it's, Block Foliage? Or not. Or Blender will just crash. Okay. I'll leave that be for now, not entirely sure what's going on there, but basically these grass faces are part of the grass block, and they dynamically place themselves if there's any solid block that is, adjacent to them vertically. So even if I grab, like, some stone or something, it will place it, but if I get, like, a give cobblestone fence, that will not get the grass blocks. Block foliage is just the cube mesh. So this foliage isn't actually part of this block. It's, it is based on the grass. And then I also have these kind of puffy grass textures on the bottom, which I think make the block look a little bit more 3D. Injust says, what distro do you use? Currently I'm using Endeavour OS. I used to be using Manjaro, and then I got frustrated by the fact that they don't actually support the AUR, and sometimes their, like, mirrors get out of date with the versions in the RChooser repository for, like, packages for programming, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with them? And so I swapped to Endeavour because it actually officially supports that. Dracomatic says, oh my god, Amazon just gave me the ability to own another copy of Fallout New Vegas. Do you need to own another copy of New Vegas? Like, did they give you a free copy? I'm on Endeavour too, my friend had me install it. Yeah, I really like it so far. It's definitely like a smaller distro, so I was a bit worried that it was going to be poorly supported, but from what I understand, it is literally just Arch, but pre-configured. Like, so I don't think there's any incompatibilities there, which is nice. I3 Window Manager, you're a stronger person than me. I decided to try out GNOME for the first time. And I've been really enjoying it, but yeah, maybe one day I'll try tiling Window Manager. So is the little grass portion its own draw action, or is it being drawn onto the texture? It's its own mesh. It's a quad that gets generated. So it's not like part of the texture here. If I was to make the grass really big, it would actually kind of poof out a little bit because I don't want it to Z-fight. However, it is all baked into the chunk, so like it's not like it's just like an additional draw call for every block here. Everything's being chunked very aggressively, which I can actually show. Let me actually run render doc, which won't crash like Blender. Still no idea why it was doing that. But yeah, if I launch the game real quick, and then let's just place a few blocks, and I'll screen cap it, like that. And then close the game. Maybe, please. Oh, fuck. Close VS Code too, whatever. Yeah, so if I take a look at this, these are the individual draw calls that make the game, and we've got about 7 indirect draws. This is upside down. Let me swap over to the albedo texture. This is all indirect rendering, so there's a bunch of different render passes. But so basically each of these renders several chunks. If I go to the mesh viewer, you can see they're all greedy meshed, and they're usually pretty big. They're only small when like a couple blocks end up at the border of a chunk, and then you get awkward meshes like this that have 126 tries. But yeah, most of the time they're pretty large, 32 by 32, and then they all get meshed and they all get rendered in indirect calls, 86, 56, 7, 31, 2, 84, 43 meshes at a time, which populates the world. Oh yeah, and then there's also the entity step, which, holy shit, this wireframe is 432... What? Hold on. This wireframe is 432 tries. I absolutely should be able to optimize that. I have no idea why that's so bad. The Abdullah I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Says, wow, just 4 passes. Yeah, it is. So there is the initial forward rendering step, which renders the albedo frame buffer, which is the color, the depth, which I can't really show you in any meaningful way, I don't think. I mean, I could try to clamp it into the right range, but that's going to be very difficult. And then there is the normal frame buffer, which encodes the normal direction of all the faces, and then the position, which is actually world position. It's not just all yellow, it's just that it's currently rendering it on my screen as RGB, which stops it from really being, like, visible. Yeah, here, if I start clamping it, you can see all of these do have different values. There's no way that should be 48 tries. Yeah, you're right, it definitely should be. I've got problems here. And then we have an indirect pass where it takes all of that information and then renders it into a final buffer, which I believe is this one. Yeah. Yeah. Injust says, will your engine be cross-platform? I'm aiming to target Windows and Linux and possibly mobile. I'm not aiming to target Mac because this is a Vulkan project, and they don't seem to like Vulkan. Also, I just, I don't know, I don't have a Mac, and they're very, like, tight-lipped about letting anyone develop for their platform without buying one, and... yeah, so... is this tool for debugging drawing oh wait, hold on. You can press the little pen icon to the min to the lowest, max to the highest. Oh, like the magic wand? Really? Oh, yo! Okay. Hold on, let me try this, like, elsewhere. That's really cool. Is this... Is this the tool for debugging drawing steps, kind of like NVIDIA Insight? Because I've seen it. I've been looking for a tool like this, but FOSS for a long time. This is RenderDoc, and yeah, it is free and open source. It's not as detailed as NVIDIA Insight. It doesn't have as much customizability, and it also doesn't get as deep into like the actual GPU utilization of everything, but it lets you introspect like a lot of information about how your frames are rendering, and it's super, super useful. It works on OpenGL and Vulkan. Yeah, it's RenderDoc. I'll just, here, I'll bring up its page real quick. RenderDoc. It's open source, yay! And it's also multi-platform. Did me and some YouTube person have the same question? Yes, you did. One was significantly earlier than you. I just am, like, already not getting caught up with the messages. Intix says Linux, hell yeah. Yeah, I really like Linux. I swapped away from Windows a long time ago because it was driving me insane with how infuriating it was to set up and link libraries, and I have not looked back. I still technically have it on my machine for cross-platform and VR stuff, but, you know, I am definitely, like, a mainly Linux user at this point. Let me bring up VS Code again, because I accidentally killed it. Okay. So... Hey there, Trixon, how you doing? So what we need to be doing right now is getting the engine to actually be able to save structures and having them take the information from structure blocks or attachment blocks and origin blocks within it. So if I go to the structure command, currently what it does... Oh shit, Injustice cheered 100 bits, thank you. Will this engine be open source? Unfortunately not. I'm building it because I want to make a commercial game in it, and I'm really worried of, like, all of my work being swiped and then used by a bigger team to make a bigger project. It's been like a 6-year-long passion project, and I don't know, it's just... I love open source software, but I'm way too worried about losing my best shot of maybe making a livelihood in game development. It is very, like, the modability is going to be exposed to users. I know that's not, like, a thing that hardcore devs really want. They want to be able to actually play with the engine itself. But the game that I'm going to be making in it is going to be fully officially moddable using the tooling that I built for making the game and making content itself. Right, so right now we create a structure that has no attachments or assignments, and what I need to do next is, as we're iterating through the nodes, I need to check if they are the attachment, if they are an attachment or an origin. So what I'm gonna do, I think, is go, if data.nodes I is equal to attachment int, console.warn found attachment, and I want to print out the position that it's in. So I'm going to go into position I. Oh yeah, and then I need the size of it, which is data.size. Then I also need to do vec3.add, vec3.create, index to position, and then data. Alright, I think it's ctx.minpos. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us the world position of the attachment that it found. We're also going to do that for the origins, because I want to be able to collect this information as we're iterating, and then change the blocks to the type that I've specified as the replacement block. So... Right, so we've got create structure, generate structure is not implemented. I'm just going to comment that out for now. Alright. So yeah, we should be able to run this. Let me make sure that the actual mod tools are running. They are not. Games, Zeus, npm run dev. Build the mod script, please. Okay. And I'm going to launch the engine again. Okay, perfect. So if I place down an attachment block, and a origin block. And then I get my wand, and I select this region, and I go structure create, unknown command structure. Wait, what? Oh, did I forget to add it? Probably. Yeah, I just forgot to add it to the commands list. One sec. Structure. Add command structure. And it looks like I named it wrong. Yeah, it's still called schematic in here. Structure! Okay. Why is it sad? Oh, because there's a type also called structure. Oh boy. I'm just going to alias that. That's not a problem, definitely. Namespace collisions are great. No issues with that at all. How come the title text on the windows looks alien? I have this font I made a while ago that is specifically meant to be as incomprehensible as possible, so that I can do things like work on writing in public without having to worry about people looking over my shoulder. Like, for example, this is my script that I'm working on for the video that's going to come out very soon, and I can swap over to private font all, and off it goes. I can read it fine because I made it and I trained to read it, but like if people just generally look over my shoulder and try to understand what it's saying, I find most of the time they just don't even recognize that it's English and then don't bother, which is exactly what I want. Yeah. Obsidian, yeah, I want to love Obsidian, but also it's just so poorly performant, it's so slow. Maybe that's just all the plugins I have installed, but yeah, it's definitely the best option that I have. It's just, I don't want to, like, fully endorse it because it drives me crazy how slow it is. But yeah, I do use it all the time. Okay, where are these messages? Japio says, are you using mesh shaders? No, I'm not. Someone mentioned recently that they're a lot more performant now in modern tech stacks. I know, like, when I first was making my engine, I heard that mesh shaders were really, really slow, and so I didn't try. But I might look into it in the future because, I don't know, I've just heard they're a lot better now. I thought the language was like Arabic or something. Nope, I am just a strange person that likes to do horrible things on my computer for fun, like making terrible fonts. I've never had performance problems with Obsidian, only had problems with getting obsessed with customization. It's probably just because, I have, like, MakeMD installed, and it's a super laggy plugin, but it also adds features that I want, and I'm so annoyed by that plugin. I don't want to, like, get into weird programmer drama, but I made, like, a PR forever ago that, like, fixes a bunch of its weird shit, and it was just never merged, and I never even got an acknowledgement that it was made. Who was it? Leonardo da Vinci that did a similar thing with his notes. Oh, like with the funky font? I wasn't aware of that. Have I accidentally mimicked an old person? Oh my god. Alright, let's try again with saving the structure. So I'll give myself an origin, give myself an attachment, I'll give myself my wand. Let's go structure, create. Oh, no name specified. Structure, create, goblin. Okay. Oh my god, okay. So we actually got information about its position. Let's check if that's accurate. So it said the attachment was here. 1999 negative 47, that looks about right. And then this one is 2198 negative 43. Oh my god, it actually works. Okay. That's really exciting, because that means we can pull the information out of them and do stuff. Yeah, I think they would write backwards or mirror so it was illegible. Oh god. Okay. I cannot yet write in this cursed font. I can only type and read it, but, you know, maybe one day all of my handwritten notes will also be nonsensical. Right, so... Okay. So we have the ability to read structure, or read what blocks are at the position. We're able to detect that they're here. So what I'm gonna do is actually create a list of assignments. So structure assignments. Const assignment is going to be structure type assignments. And then we're gonna set that to an empty array. This is all kind of awful code for the record. I would like to make this less shit, but I'm just trying to get this working because I'm on a kind of strict deadline. Structure type attachments. Mainly because I have a meeting with my co-op coordinator again, or not co-op, sorry, self-directed study coordinator at next week, and I don't actually know if I'm going to have time to work on this project between now and then, and I really need something to show for it, so that I don't get told that I'm a failure. Not sure if mesh shaders were slow before, just not supported by all cards. I heard that they can be used, or they can be really performant when used correctly. Once I'm done with my project, I want to give them a try. I might look into it, because there's like a lot of situations where just being able to have a mesh shader define a cubic mesh would be really nice. Like for example, distant models in my environment are all cubes. They're greedy meshed, and they are just all cubic. They can't have complex models. You can see like the grass just cuts off and the plants become solid. And if I could direct a mesh shader to just do that with an origin and a size, and then use vertex pulling to describe like the proper texture and everything of all of those things, then that would be great. That would save on a lot of memory. I just don't want to waste a bunch of time on the GPU side generating those cubes every frame, so I want to make sure that it's actually efficient. I would think it was crazy to write like that, till my journal has been read multiple times by trusted family and friends. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super worried about people I know reading my writings. I'm more worried about, like, I'm just a very insecure person, and I like writing fiction, and just, like, I like the idea of writing in public. But I also hate how all of my first revision, like, stories look. Because, like, I think I can write relatively okay, but it comes out really bad initially, and then I have to revise it and revise it and revise it. And I just had this, like, insecurity when I was in public writing, where I would just constantly be thinking, what if someone looked over my shoulder right now and was like, wow, she sucks at writing? So I was like, okay, well, what if I make it so that they can't read it until it's ready? And that was the actual original motivation. I made a font. The funniest part is that it is identical for every language. Is it all just the same character? For your pull request, wouldn't making a stink about it help, like messaging them directly since you made a fix? Probably. I just have been super busy, and it hasn't been at the top of my mind, so it's just not something that I've actually focused on. But perhaps I will at some point. I just have so much on my plate right now. Right, so oh, thank you for the hydrate, Zith. This is actually helping my voice. Oh my god, okay. I don't know who was here for the beginning of the stream, but I was saying, oh, I'm so fucked, because I have to work on my video today, and my voice was, like, completely dry, just, like, entirely empty. But talking is bringing it back, which is good. Isn't computer science school a breeze for you? Your programming prowess is miles ahead of the average uni student. I mean, thank you, first of all. But also, yes. Yeah, I mean, when I got to university, I really thought things were going to be kind of interesting, like programming-wise. I thought I was going to learn things that I didn't know before about writing code. And there was a couple things that I had missed, but for the most part, everything I didn't know was just high-level calculus, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not an academic. I like knowing the math I need to make things work. I don't really care about knowing how to compute, like, higher-order partial derivative things. I don't know, I did that last semester. I graduated from the final, or I completed the final math class I needed to do last semester, and I promptly evicted all of it from my brain. The font itself is based on the cylinder of a revolver, so the only thing that changes between languages is what each character translates to. Oh, that's really cool. That's a really funky idea. I like that a lot. What do I use to toggle between fonts? I have the system font set to my funky font. And then in Obsidian lets you define your own style sheets. And I just toggle between a style sheet that overrides the font of everything. But then I also, actually, one other aspect that I have is in the properties of the page, which I don't know how to get to. Oh, here. I can add CSS classes. I think it's doc private. Yeah, and that'll always hide it for a specific page, which is nice. Obsidian's pretty cool. I like it a lot. I feel awful because I forgot all the calculus I learned. It is one of those things where I was like, wow, I went through like 5 calculus courses, and I spent like months and months of my life learning this just to pass, and now I've just gotten rid of all of it from my head. But honestly, I don't really think I ever understood it in the first place. I'm just really good at bullshitting. Like, when I'm in a class that's not my strong suit, I just kind of make shit up, and usually it works well enough that I can get through. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish my thought about university, which is that, yeah, the programming was a lot simpler than I had hoped. I was really hoping to learn some, like, deep cuts about just, like, techniques I'd not learned before. I did learn a bit we had a class on set theory, which I really enjoyed. Like, it formalized a lot of stuff. One of my classes touched on floating point representation, and I now know exactly how floats work, which is cool. And yes, I could have looked that up, but I just never did. And then I also had a class that talked about like low-level assembly, which I just never really broached before, which was really exciting. But most of the programming stuff that I had to do was just like, oh, write this thing in Java. And I was just like, okay, I guess. When am I gonna learn things? It was really just all math. That was the stuff I needed to struggle with. Do I ever help out my classmates with their basic projects, or just hide my abilities so they don't ask? Well, it depends. It really depends on how close we are as friends, and how many times I've had to help before. I would say I'm a little bit of a selfish person, or maybe the right word is more just I focus on my own priorities. Like, if someone's really struggling, and I care about them, then yeah, I absolutely do help them out. But if it's the type of person that just like will come to me every single assignment and be like, I don't understand how to do this, at a certain point I just go like, okay, I'm busy, so sorry. But I don't know, maybe that's not selfish and that's just avoiding being taken advantage of. I definitely am not very open about the fact that I know how to do all the assignments, like, to just the class in general, partially because I don't want to brag, and also just because I really don't want to be, like, the designated free tutor. But I'm basically done university. I only ever have 2 more classes that are in my, like, in person in a classroom, so I really don't have to worry about that anymore. It's crazy to think that I'm going to graduate. Like, my initial plan for this year was I had one really, really big semester at the beginning, which I finished, and I was going to have one more really big semester, which was going to be, like, right after the summer break. But then I got a job offer that I couldn't really refuse. It was just a really good offer, and I need financial security because I'm about to graduate, and I need to be able to pay my bills. And they basically offered to fund the remainder of my schooling if I worked with them at the same time, and took classes, like, basically slowly so that I could actually function in both working and doing schooling. So instead of having one more big semester, I have 3 more one-class semesters, which means that even though I technically have some classes left, it feels like I'm just done with university, which is such, like, whiplash, because I was really prepared for one more difficult, like, semester, and it's just kind of gone. So it's just a bit weird. Like, it's for sure just strange. Will you help classmates? Only if I like you. Same time, will help random people on the internet. I don't know if I help random people on the internet. I just chat with them. Like, if I'm helpful, then that's good. But, you know, I don't know. I'm here for the good times. I'm here for conversation and creating cool stuff. Sorry. I got COVID like a couple weeks ago and I still have this annoying cough occasionally. Alright, let's actually parse this data, because that's kind of important. So I'm gonna go const attachment, or let's go meta is equal to dimension.getMeta. Oh, I don't have the dimension. I think it's in context.player.dimension.entity.dimension. There we go, okay. Also I need to get the position, which is going to be this part. And we're gonna get the meta at the position, and then we also need to pass in attachment meta. Am I not exporting that? I am. Why didn't it offer to import it? Fine. Import attachment meta from item attachment. It's not unused. Why does it think that's unused? Oh! Oh, because I'm only exporting the type, not the value. Can I export the type and the value? Oh, I can. Okay. Hell yeah. So if I now go back over to structure. Wrong structure. This structure. There we go. Attachment meta is a value here. And this will actually cause the engine to type check. And it will also let me infer the value that is getting sent back. So I can actually see if I do like meta dot, it's got replace with and structures. And structures has all of these properties, and I know that. It's just, it's encoded into the value here, and then get meta infers the type from the value. Funky TypeScript stuff. Oh, Dracomatic redeemed hydrate, and I just drank the last of my water on my own, which doesn't count. 1 sec, I need to grab water. I will be, like, 1 minute. Got to get my screen back on. No. Yes. Hello. Okay. Water. Thank you for the hydrate. Okay, so we have our metadata right now, and I think we basically just want to throw it directly into the attachments list. So we're going to attachments is the structure type attachments, which is an array of these things. We also need a position. That's important. Yeah, okay. So attachments is basically a list of all of the substructure positions that can generate. So, for example, if we place a structure attachment at some point and we want it to be able to generate another structure there, like a road or like a tree or something on top of a building, then we can do that. So we need to push, I guess what I want is local procs, which will be here. We need local position to store it in the structure. We need the world position to get the metadata. And then we just need to append to attachments. Wait, what? Hold on. Guys, if we redeem hydrate 68 times, we can force Aurelius to drink 2 liters of water. Okay, hold on a minute. Trixon redeemed to hydrate. Maybe let's chill out slightly on that. I think I might actually die if you make me drink 2 liters of water in like 30 minutes. I don't know, can you die from drinking too much water? I'm gonna say I can, so that it hopefully guilts you out of doing that. Because... oh god. So yeah, we'll put in the position. Why is this not typing? Oh, hold on. We do not want to have replace with in here, because we're not going to replace it with anything, we're going to replace it before setting the data. So position, structures is going to be meta.structures, which doesn't work because... oh god, this type def. Types of property permutations are incompatible. Right, because we have a more constrained type for the operation. Yeah. So we're just gonna go as any as... I'm just gonna do as any. I know this is like a horrible JavaScript sin, or TypeScript sin, but I just need it to work right now. Good things can come later, I just need it to function. You are at risk of water intoxication if you drink over 1 liter of water an hour. Really? 1 liter is not that much. Is that like if you continuously drink 1 liter of water an hour, like all day? You can't really die from drinking water, you start vomiting far before you're at risk of dying. Uh-huh. And Intix says chug, chug, chug. Okay, I would prefer to avoid getting water intoxication, or vomiting, or dying. So, maybe use the hydrate button with moderation. Okay, so that's gonna get us our attachments, and we're gonna do a very similar thing for the origin meta, which I need to actually export properly. Thank you for the stretch. It's easy to, like, end up just sitting here and then not actually, Can you die from stretching? I don't know, if you stretch too hard, you might, like, dislocate something. Like, you know, if 10 people redeem stretch all at once, do I have to do 10 stretches? Or do I have to do 1 stretch that's 10 times the movement? Like, could I end up in gimbal lock on my joints? I don't know. No, more hydrates. Sith, I swear to god, this is not the time to start doing like 500 hydrates. I know you have like 6,000 channel points. Okay, so we've got the origin meta, and the origin, we don't need to encode the position, we need to set the assignments, which we're just going to do by spreading this, and I think that should be good. 16,320 points for the 2-liter sprint. How are you measuring how big a liter is? Like, how do you know how much water I'm going to drink? What if I just stop, like, what if I take 1 droplet of water from the glass and then drink it, and then I'm like, hydrate. You know, technically it's hydrated. Okay, we also need to store the origin, which we're gonna start as a vec3, that's just at 0, 0, 0, and then we're going to set the origin to meta dot, or I guess localhost, because we place the block at the origin. Okay, so that's going to let us save the data from the attachments and the origin blocks. I was approximating 1 ounce per drink. I'm not American, I don't know how much an ounce is, I'm sorry. I know how much a liter is. Oh no, more hydrates from Drickomatic. Ms. Box says, I think the limit is like 6 liters. I assume you mean the limit of how much water a human can drink, right? So I need to actually store the node that we're going to be putting into the structure in a temporary here, because we need to override it if we find a attachment or an origin. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to go node is equal to item.get meta.replace with .index. There we go. And that'll give us the actual node that we want to be put in there. Yeah, water, okay. Well, I'll try to drink less than 6 liters of water. Ounces are an imperial measurement. I think so. Are they not? Hold on. I'm about to look really stupid. Yeah, no, ounces are imperial. It's milliliters in metric. Okay. I'm glad that I didn't show, like, the fact that I have 0 IQ on the stream. Alright, now instead of data.nodesI, we need to get the node local. Right here. Okay. So now all of those places, it should get replaced with the block that we actually want there. And we'll be able to test this, so I'll test this really quickly. Now we're going to set assignments and attachments to the values we've been populating up above, and also origin. Perfect. And now let's go, we're going to open the structures file, write the structure to it, and close the file. And I think, crossing our fingers, this should actually work and we'll be able to see that the data got encoded into the structure properly. You don't know freedom measurements? God, yeah, I know, I should really learn the imperial measurements, given I'm Canadian. It's very important. I use literally whatever measurements I know well. Fair enough. I mean, I use inches a lot, which is kind of horrible. But, like, they're just a more intuitive size to me when I'm, like, thinking about how long something is. I never use them for, like, science, because the fact that they're, like, 1/12 of a foot, and then a foot is, like, 1/3 of a yard, and the fact that it doesn't stack up good, it's just, ugh. But, like, for just, like, measuring something with my brain, feet and inches feel more intuitive than meters and centimeters. I guess technically you could use decameters, but I don't think anyone has an intuition for how big a decameter is. Okay, so let's create a origin, and let's create a attachment, and I want to set meta, and we're gonna go replace with Zeus default cobblestone. And then I also need to go, God, what is the attachment meta type? I don't remember. Structures. Okay, structures is going to be an empty array. Oh wait, hold on, that needs to have quotes, otherwise JSON's gonna be sad. This is not going to be the final interface for manipulating these blocks, it's just, it needs to work, right? Okay, now let's go wand, and I want to select this whole thing, and go structure, create, test one. Did it go? Did I do something? Test1.schematic.json. It should probably be called .structure.json. I like inches because you can divide them up better. Yeah, fair enough. Like, base 12 is very good for division. You know, you get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. You get to divide it by every integer going up to the 12 except for 5. And then also numbers greater than half, of course, but, you know. Right, so this whole structure, let's pretty print this. Format. Okay, wait, what the hell happened here? Why did the size get encoded not as an array, but as, like, an object? That's fucked up. I don't know why, but whatever. So size is 2 on each axis. Origin is 1, because that's where the origin block was? Is that right? It's positive, but negative. Huh. So it's positive in the x direction and the y direction, but it's actually negative in the z direction, so I don't know why it ended up being 1, 1, 1. It should be 1, 1, 0, because this is the base in the z direction. Oh wait, no, technically the minimum pos is the furthest negative. So it is 1 from the minimum, which is this block here. So no, that makes sense, it is 1, 1, 1. And then our identifiers are dirt, grass, cobblestone, which is what I was hoping for, because there's no cobblestone actually here, but this block should be replaced with cobblestone. Which means it should be in the ladder 4, and it should be somewhere. So cobblestone is 2. Okay, it's actually in the first 4. I wonder, do I do, like, Y, X, Z? Hold on. I need to check what order I encode this data in. Okay, so I do X, Y, Z. So, yeah, that makes sense. The order of the nodes makes sense. So the way this works, for the record, is that we take all of the block types that are in the environment, we get them in a list here, and then each of these indices refers to a block type in here. Because the actual IDs, the numerical IDs we're using in Engine, are not consistent. They can change between runs, but the identifiers cannot. So yeah, we have cobblestone, it's placed exactly once, which means that it's working. Then at meta 010, we have... Oh, this is interesting. So we're actually getting the metadata of the structure blocks, even though we've replaced them, which is not exactly what we want. We don't want it to store the metadata of those blocks because they've been replaced. It's also it is also storing the attachment's position in world space, which is not good. Yeah, that's... Okay, so there's a few issues with this format, which we will address. I'm gonna throw this over here. Trixon says, what does default mean in those IDs? Why isn't it just Zeus Cobblestone? There are 3-part IDs. The first thing is the game or user scope. So basically, to avoid mod conflicts, because a lot of the actual like registry system in this is based off of Mindtest, and Mindtest has this really big problem where multiple mods get made with the same ID, and then you can't tell them apart in Engine. So all mods have to be namespaced with either a username, which starts with an @ like RA World Edit Attachment, or a game name, which is unique, and you must like actually register that game ID if you want to be on like the content database. And then the second thing is the actual mod. So this is the default mod in Zeus. Default is a stupid name. I don't plan on having that be a thing. It's just basically the dumping ground for whatever code I write for the project right now. And like World Edit is under my namespace because it's not for Zeus, it's just something I made. And then World Edit's the actual mod. And then the final part is just the identifier of the individual thing. So dirt, grass, cobblestone, attachment. And then finally, just like Zephyr namespace things don't have 3 parts because they're just Engine defaults. And they don't have... I am actually considering just starting it with a leading colon, which designates it as a built-in thing and then also makes it so you can still split by the 2 colons to actually get the 3 components. And I don't want to do Zephyr air or Zephyr internal air, because that would annoy me. But yeah. So everything's a 3-part identifier to make namespaces unique, except for the Engine, which has a 2-part identifier. Because there's only one Zephyr, and that is the Engine itself. Okay, so what do we have? Sorry, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so we had a bunch of issues with the format. And I'm gonna go in and quickly fix them. So, in our structure file, first of all, not that structure file. I need to stop having 2 things with the same name. We want to save it as .structure.json. It doesn't matter, it just matters to me. Then when we store the attachment position, this should be localcos, because it's relative to the structure, not relative to the world itself. And also, I want to see if I can just get this to be a proper array. I don't know why it's not being an array. It's probably because it's like a typed array from GL matrix. But yeah, I'd like to see if I can make it be a real array if I can. And if that requires a spread awk, then so be it. Okay, and then, yeah, we don't want to store the metadata for blocks that are replaced, so that's going to be interesting, because the metadata itself comes from the data. Like, data has the metadata property, and that's before we replace any blocks. I guess what I could do, which is kind of horrible, but I could just go, like, const saved meta is going to be data.meta.filter, and then we're going to go and take in the position, and go, and we're also going to want to store, let's say, const, symbol, let's go, like, technical block locations. And that's just going to be a vec3 array. And then every time we find a technical block, we're going to push technical block locations dot push the world position. Alright, not the world position, the local position. Yep. And then we're gonna go if technical block locations dot sum other pos vec3 dot equals pos other pos. And then we're gonna go not sum. Why is this sad? Pos is a vec3. Equals takes a read-only vec3. As vec3. I don't know. I think it's because there's two vec3 types right now. There's the Zephyr one and there's the GL matrix one. I'm going to resolve that eventually. So saved meta is going to be all the meta properties that are not technical blocks, which are the blocks that we're replacing. Maybe we should just call this, like, replaced node locations. Yeah. And then we're going to set the meta to saved meta. Okay. Let's quickly see if that fixes all the problems. So, gonna restart the engine, and hopefully it's gonna save properly. And then, hopefully, we might actually be able to load something. That would be pretty cool, right? Okay, so... yeah, we're going to give origin. We're basically going to do the exact same structure. Give attachment, and then I want to go meta set. I guess I can just copy paste. Hold on. Where is our old structure? Test one. And let's just grab this. Paste. Enter. Did it work? Oh, no, because I need to do it here. Okay. Oh, wait. Meta set. There we go, okay. We actually saved. Okay, so we have these two things. Now let's grab the wand. Select, structure, save, or structure create, test 2. Okay. So we've got test2.structure.json. Let's format it, and let's take a look. Okay, size is properly formatted. Origin is properly formatted. Identifiers exist. The metadata property is empty, which I think means it's right. I guess I don't have any other block with metadata to actually see if it's just like stripping all the metadata out, or if it's just stripping what we want out, but I'm going to assume it works right. And the position is local. Good. Okay. Also, my earbuds just died. Give me 1 sec. I need to grab a set. You get to see my messy floor. Oh god. I love rolly chairs. Reconnect that. I need to get the music to play again. Oh, that's loud. Okay. Stop. Okay. Cool. So, right. Now what we need to do is actually get a structure to generate, which is going to be interesting. So, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to do a little bit of building. So, I'm going to run the load command to load a schematic. Load home, I think, and then paste. Shit. That didn't work. Why isn't this working? Oh, because it doesn't have a metadata field that was saved before metadata existed. I didn't realize that was going to cause it to explode. I should delete some of these schematics that don't have any relevance. There we go, okay. So, I'm gonna place down the house. Let's go, load home and paste. So this is just a little home. Ah, fuck. The lilacs have a tendency to spread, but that's okay. That's not gonna mess with our stuff that we're doing right now. Let me, like, put back the ground that was cut out here. And then we're gonna make a little garden at the front. So let's go, give fence. Nope. Give wood fence. There we go. Okay. And we're just gonna create a little thing here. And we're not gonna save this as one structure, but we're actually gonna save this as two, and see if we can actually get them to join together at the end. So, also, I'm really happy with how this rendering stuff works. So these aren't encoding what blocks are adjacent to them. It's actually all render time. When the mesh is being created, it checks what blocks are next to it, and then places the side pieces based on that. Similar to how the grass places the vertical section if there's a block next to it. And I'm really happy with that dynamic system. I think it works quite well. Alright, I'm gonna grab a flower that does not consume the entire world. And I'm gonna put some of these in the garden. Okay. Now what's gonna happen is I'm going to get an origin block and put it... let's put it here. And then I'm gonna get a attachment block. I'm gonna put it here. And I'm gonna get another origin block. Or sorry, I guess the attachment should go here. And then get another origin block and put it there. And the way that's gonna work is this origin is going to be for this home. And it's gonna spawn the house. And that house is going to include this attachment block. And then this attachment block is going to specify that it spawns this structure here, which doesn't have any attachments, but it does have the origin. And so... basically, hopefully, when we generate the structure, it should be able to automatically replace this attachment with the origin of this piece of the structure, and then actually have it, like, connect properly. Hold on. Wouldn't that do a huge amount of checks on surrounding blocks when you have a lot of fences? Yes, but the checks are super efficient, so it really doesn't matter. Like, if I go wand, and then I go set fence, or I think it's wood fence. Oh, fuck. That mattered. Uh-oh. Ah! Okay! Oh, interesting. Okay, so that did break it, yeah, but it wasn't actually because of the fact that there's too many checks. It was because there's too many vertices, which is not good. I should be able to have that many fences without it imploding. I'll have to look into that. Let's try again. Yeah, okay, so there's a lot of fences here. They are all interconnected, but even if I, like, break and place them, it doesn't really affect the meshing time too much. It's pretty good still. Damn it, I need to rebuild my beautiful home. Okay, hold on. Load home. Paste. I'm gonna kill this flower before it spreads. I'm gonna put back the grass. I'm doing this in the sky now, so it doesn't fuck up anything. So this is our home segment. And then, over here, this is going to be our garden. I'm going to give myself wood fence. Why is this misaligned? What? Oh. There we go. Let's get one of the flowers. I don't remember what they're actually called. I think they're called something stupid like tall blue. Anyways. So there's our flowers. Let's also give ourselves some cobblestone. for the hell of it. Crashes always happen when you're trying to show something. Yeah. Okay. So, these are our two components. We're gonna get an origin. I'm gonna stick it here. We're gonna get an origin, and I'm gonna stick it here. And I'm going to give myself an attachment and stick it here. Also, I'm really happy with how, like, the cobblestone blends into the grass. That's something I want to do for a lot of blocks, is, like, have them actually able to blend nicely between each other. There's some precision issues that are happening here right now, and I know why that's happening, and I know how to fix it, but, yeah. Slad Supersonic says, are you making a game? I am, yeah. So right now I'm working on the engine, so there's not much gameplay to be seen. But yes, I do have a game idea eventually. Why? Well, because I want to. I don't know. I've always been passionate about game development. I also would love to make and sell a game and actually be able to live off of that, but... Oh yeah, I'm glad you like the blending. Yeah, I don't know, it's just always been a passion of mine, so I guess it's just something I decided to do. So, let's see... We're gonna get... a point here. We're gonna grab the wand. And then select this whole region, and I'm gonna save the schematic there. So we're gonna go, or sorry, the structure. Structure, create, home. Cool. Oh wait, hold on, I should have gotten rid of this block. There are you could be doing 1,000 easier, less risky, more profitable things. I mean, you're right, but that's way less interesting and way less what I want to do. Like, if everyone just plays it safe, then we don't actually get anything interesting. Like, it's totally valid to want to just, like, live a safe life. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not something I'm interested in. Did I choose this, or did it choose me? I would say it probably more chose me. I don't know. It's been a thing that I guess has just always been like a compulsion I've had, and it would feel wrong not to engage with it. Okay, so let's go structure create garden. Okay, and so now we have two structures. If I format this, I'll be able to see them. Okay, so the garden has no attachments, which is what we would expect. But the home does have an attachment at this position, but it has no structures. I'm just going to manually insert this into the JSON right now because I don't want to do that through the game because the game interface is really bad. So I'm going to quickly open up the structure file, which has the format of what this information should actually be. Okay, and then we're going to go position... Oh wait, hold on. Orientation 0, because that just doesn't exist yet. Orientation isn't a functioning thing. Conditions is going to be an empty array. Permutations is also going to be an empty array. Path is going to be garden dot structure dot js. Actually, I guess I should give the whole path. So it's going to be game re world edit. And then we are going to go structures garden.structure.json. Okay, that's the full path to it. And then our weight is just going to be 1. So a lot of these properties aren't being used yet. Orientation's unused. Conditions and permutations are going to be part of the counter system, and they're not done yet. And weight is for randomizing between different structures, but we only have one structure right now, so a weight of 1 is fine. Laughlin's art. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing really good, myself. I realize now that that could be confusing, whether I was saying, hey, how are you doing, or if I was reading you asking how I'm doing, and for the record, I'm asking how you're doing. I hope you're doing well. Also, thank you for the hydrate. Are you planning to integrate a UI library like IMGUI for the game, or something custom? I already have a fairly complex custom GUI system that I do want to keep using. Its presentation is kind of shit right now. Like, this is the pause menu, and I think currently the issue is that the text, which I'm rendering using signed distance fields, is really fucked up. But yeah, I've put a lot of work into the layouting engine of the GUI system, and that is something that I want to keep doing. I'm very happy with how it works, I just need to polish it and make it function properly. So yeah, no, I'm not planning on integrating IMGUI. It is its own thing. And it's also supposed to be all scripted using JavaScript. Because that's just apparently the story of my life with this game. So we have our position, we have our structures. Cool. We're not assigning anything, we don't have any metadata, so that's perfect. I think that's all we need. Because we don't need... Oh, also, I guess we could probably... I guess we're going to be replacing with air right now, unfortunately. Because I don't know where in this structure the actual structure block is to, like, override this, and I forgot to set it when I was saving it. But we can change that later. It's not a problem. Wait, why did this copy-paste again? Don't duplicate. What? Wait, what the fuck? I don't know what this was, but stop it. Okay. Can I minify? No. Alright, whatever. So yeah, we've got our structure, we've got our other garden structure. And now I guess what remains is to actually build a command to place the structure and see what happens. Which is, I'm kind of scared of it. I don't want this to not work. So... let's try it anyways. We're gonna go into the structure command. And we've got create structure, which is that whole function. Then we're also gonna put back our generate structure. I think you're right that maybe I append it instead of writing somewhere. I think my file system write command, for some reason, will only overwrite the last line if you tell it to, like, overwrite. Which is not ideal, but not something I want to deal with right now. So we're going to generate the structure with the context. Do we need to get the position that the player is pointing at? Because, so schematics, which are like the basic things, like if I go load home and then paste, they store a paste offset so that it pastes at the same location relative to you, so that you don't end up inside of the structure, but because, or inside of the schematic. But because structures are meant to be spawned by the engine, they do not have any such paste offset. So what I'm going to do is, instead of having you load it and then paste it at your location, it's just going to generate it wherever you're pointing with your cursor. So that means I need to... I need to raycast, which is a thing that we can do. ctx.player.entity.dimension.raycast. Some of these chains of things are horrible, and I should store them in locals, but it's fine. Load quaternion from GL matrix. Perfect, so we're gonna find the target, and I'm going to return console.error. Could not find target position. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna find the target position. And then all of the logic after this is going to be about... Oh fuck, I'm overwriting create structure. Hold on. Undo. Real quick. Okay. All of the logic is going to be about pasting the structure after this. Yeah, just one sec though, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. I will be back in like 2 minutes. Alright, see you guys in a sec. Okay, I'm back. So, our generate structure function needs to find the target that we're pointing at, and then it needs to load the file and paste it. So I'm actually going to grab the same code from schematic because it's going to be mostly the same. Kind of, I guess. It's going to be slightly different, but we're going to adapt it. So yeah, we need to load the structure. Which is going to be, we're going to load our world edit, structures, name.structure.json, unknown structure. And then we're going to go... Oh, I should really close this file, probably. We're going to go const structure JSON is f.readString. Then we're going to close the file. And I'm also going to parse the JSON. Then we're going to go through all the identifiers and number to index, which is our lovely map of like structure numeric value to actual game index, is going to be populated with it by going structure json.identifiers.index. Then for each value in the data value, we're going to push that into the data array. And now we basically need the paste code, which is all this stuff. Right, so we have our data, and we have our position, and we have our size from the structure itself. So we're gonna get our world position. And that's going to get added to target.position, the point that we're looking at. We also need the structure json.size. I should probably type this as structure type. Yeah, okay. As vec3. Data does not exist on type structure? Oh, because it's nodes? Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go through all of the nodes and then get the world position. Then we're gonna set the node to that value. So target dot, oh wait, bigtext.player.entity.dimension .set node world node. Okay, that should place the structure into the world. It's not going to place the substructures, but this is a good demo to see what happens. Alright, so let's start the game up again. And what we should see is basically it places back the same house that we built, but all of the technical blocks should just be air, because I fucked up and made them air. So if I go structure generate home... Okay, okay. So it placed the home at the position we were pointing at. Although it actually went a block up from where I expected it to, which is odd. What if I do this on, like, completely flat ground? Maybe it's because the grass, I was targeting, like, a tall grass. Structure generate home. Wait, what? Why did it... Oh! Structure generate home. Okay, it's setting the corner to what I'm pointing at instead of the origin. That's part of the problem. So we actually need to go into here. And instead of target.pos, we're going to go origin.pos, and we're going to go let origin.pos equal vec3.add, vec3.create, target.pos, structure json.origin. Please. Okay. Also, I can stop calling this structure JSON. It's just the structure. Okay. So that'll actually make it start at the origin. So let's try that again real quick. Maybe it'll be good. Okay. So if I go structure generate home. Okay, that... Right, okay, we actually need to subtract the origin. Because it's basically a, like, offset into the structure. That makes sense. Did it backwards. Okay. We should get it right in the middle of our cursor. Structure generate home. Yes! Okay! Alright, we got it. We don't have the garden yet, though. And we also don't have these blocks replaced with these blocks, but that's because I didn't encode it in the structure. But it did get rid of the structure blocks, like the technical blocks weren't placed, which is what we want. We don't want technical blocks to be placed by the engine when it's generating structures. So now we need to, like, recurse, effectively, and place the body. So we're gonna go actually function... We're gonna rename this to, command generate structure. And we're gonna have a new command called generate structure, which is going to take an origin, which is a vec3, and then a structure, a path, which is going to be a path, game path. Okay, and then we're going to move a lot of this logic over to here. We're going to get rid of the context code, we're going to get rid of the ray casting, and we're going to just try to open the path directly. It shouldn't do any, like, string interpolation. Cool. And then we're also going to pass in the path here, in case it fucks up. We want to know. Okay, and we're not going to do target.pos. We are going to take in origin. Cool. Oh, and we also, I guess, need a dimension. Yeah. Dimension. Import that. Then we can just do gim.setNode. Perfect. So this is just going to populate our structure. And then this is going to be parsing our arguments and our initial position to place it. So we're going to go const path is going to be this path, based on the name we provide. And then we're just going to call generate structure, ctx.player.empty.dimension, target.position, and path. Hey there, Bigfoot Israel for sure. How you doing? Should be, if I do as const. Okay, that does work. Yeah. Cool. So that generates, that'll call this function. And now all we need to do is recurse. So then we're gonna go for const attachment of structure.attachments. We're gonna go const substructure. Or let's just go chosen structure for now. We're gonna go attachment dot structures 0. Doing fine, that's good to hear. How am I doing? I am very hot in my room right now because I can't run the AC when I'm streaming. It's very hot out. And also I think I'm slowly losing my voice, but I'm enjoying streaming. I'm enjoying getting stuff done, so I'm doing good. Okay, so we're gonna ignore conditions, orientation, and permutations, and wait. We just want the path. And we're gonna call generate structure attachment.pos. Oh, we need to pass in the existing dimension, then the position, which we're going to have to add to, Oh, you said what am I doing? Okay, my bad. I'm blind. I'm currently working on creating a structure system for my Voxel engine. I'm trying to make it so that structures can spawn other structures and do probabilities to create, like, random generation. Okay, so we're gonna add the origin pos to the chosen structure position. Sorry, the attachment position. We're also going to create a new vector here, call this vec3, and then pass in chosen structure.path. It reminds you of a game. I wonder what game that could be. Yeah, my game is a voxel game, so it's very similar in style to Minecraft in its visual aesthetic. And also it's currently just an engine, so there's not really any game content. I have plans to distinguish it from Minecraft in the future. Like, I have a lot of gameplay that I want to do that I think will make it very distinct. But right now I'm mostly just working on the technology. As game path, I'll just assert that for now. Okay, we should hopefully see the garden now. So it's like a mod, or a mode? No, it's, this is my own engine that I built from scratch to render and generate voxel worlds. And I plan to make games within the engine, that I want to actually release. So, yeah, it's not like a Minecraft mod, it is its own project. So I go structure, generate... Oh. Oh my god, it worked. Okay. Okay. So the structure generated this garden. These are two separate structures. We placed one, and then the other came with it. So... if, like, for example, I went into home, and I changed position here, let's just say I set it to 2, for the hell of it. And then I tried to paste it again. Structure, generate, home. Now the garden's upwards. Okay. I don't know why you'd ever want that, but it works. Where am I from? I am from Canada. I was born here, I still am here. I've not really moved around very much. Pro Gamer Pro. I love that name. Says, man, it's so amazing seeing your code work. How long have you been programming for? Thanks. Yeah, I'm also really glad it's working. I've been programming for about 10 years, probably. I started around when I was 12, and I'm 22. There's a couple false starts in there, so I don't know if all of those actually count. It's kind of hard to actually learn to code properly when you're a 12-year-old. But yeah, I've been doing this for a while. I think coding is my biggest interest out of all the things that I'm interested in doing. Oh nice, I'm from Israel. Canada is a nice state, loads of rivers, maybe it got you inspired. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that every project will have a piece of the creator in it, right? This game is meant to eventually take place on an alien environment, but I definitely want to have terrain that's reminiscent of the ecosystem that I was born in. I was thinking about this recently, actually, that, like, one of the most telling things about where a game was made and who made it is the type of foliage and environment that's represented within it. Because people just have this, such like a close connection to the area that they grew up in and how it looks and how it feels and what emotions it makes them feel. Like, I feel like I can always tell when a game has, like, Canadian wildlife in it versus, like, the States or anywhere else. It's very interesting to see. It's kind of like the creators bearing their own soul to you. And so I definitely suspect that a lot of my environments are going to end up looking like Canadian rainforests because that's where I've been. But I'm hoping I can diversify it as well. If I made a game, the terrain would be one gigantic flat quad. Were you born in the void? What? One gigantic flat quad. With windmills. Okay, okay. Is that one of the European countries? Oh god. The stream always crunches so hard when the game starts generating. It's not actually slow on my end, but, like, it's using too much of the CPU, and also the GPU. So, yeah, it's not really able to like, encode the stream properly. Structure, generate... God, I'm just so happy that it's actually able to generate substructures. This is like a huge deal for me, because it means I've not entirely failed to do my self-directed study. I can actually bring up the docs for that in a sec. For me, with the nice spring in Israel, oh, you have a nice spring in Israel, and that's a nice view that can get you inspired? Yeah. Water, flowing water is just always super, super inspiring. I guess flowing water is a very general way to say that. I like rivers. I like seeing water like go by naturally and thinking about how it got there. I definitely see, like, I find that really inspiring as well. What else gave you the idea for the game? So... I mean, obviously Minecraft is a big inspiration. I was also a huge fan of Subnautica when I was younger, and I really liked the kind of subtle horror that was present in the mechanics of that game. It's so very alien, and I really want to capture that alien energy. I'm not planning on going particularly underwater with mine, but I want to be able to get the same kind of like subtle terror that it invokes in my environments as well. I'm also just a huge fan of like, my game's gonna have a lot of shapeshifting mechanics, and I'm a huge fan of like transhumanism and just like exploring different sorts of like sci-fi ideas. So that's really exciting for me. I haven't got any of that in the game yet, unfortunately, but I'm really looking forward to it. Mine would be the scorching sun plus the sand. Oh, you're talking about inspiration, yeah. Or I guess just you're talking about the environment that you're in. Sorry, I've missed the initial context of that message. Yeah, so now that we've got the structures working like this, I think what I'd like to do really quick is actually fix the replace with property. So that the structure actually... Well, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should actually allow you to reinitialize structures in the world so that you can edit them again. Because right now, when you structure generate, it only generates it as like a place structure. You can't get the initial structure blocks back, which means that once you save it, you can't edit it. At least not easily, without replacing all the structure blocks, which I don't really want. So maybe I should add a second command that kind of unfucks the structure and brings back the initial structure blocks that you used to place it. TDITLU said, are you building a polygon-based engine or a ray-marched engine? This is all polygon-based. I'm using greedy meshing, which you can see here. I'm not planning on introducing ray marching or ray tracing at all. Someone was talking early in the stream about the potential of using mesh buffers to generate like the cubic meshes in the distance, because after a certain distance in my terrain it becomes like all cubic. It doesn't have any more like detailed block models, and the idea of using mesh buffers for that is kind of interesting. Custom culling fuck up there, nice. But yeah, it's all polygon based. I'm definitely really impressed by all of the ray trace voxel engines. Like, particularly the sheer amount of terrain they can render is really cool. But I find it kind of limiting that all of the mesh data has to be, like, aligned to the grid, because everything is being made out of voxels. And, like, you can do a lot of detailed stuff. Like, if you make the actual voxels really small, you can have lots of those kind of, like, block bench-esque models, where it's, like, little tiny cuboids for each pixel. But that's not really my preferred style. I like to be able to have billboards and, like, non-grid aligned things and stuff, so I personally didn't want to go with the ray tracing direction for this project. Are you going to have water physics like Minecraft or something more advanced / rivers that actually flow? So I've been kind of bouncing back and forth on this, because I'd love to get volumetric water, especially because my game has, like, automation mechanics involved, and having you be forced to, like, consider how you're consuming liquids versus Minecraft's just infinite spring would be super cool. And there are certain ways where I'm thinking I could maybe do it. Like, I'm thinking of maybe just trying to map out what volumes exist and then treating them like a unit instead of just operating on, like, a block level. But I haven't really figured out if that's actually going to be possible yet. Like, it's more of a thing that I'm thinking of than a thing that I'm certain will work. So, yeah, it's definitely a thought that I have. It's something that I would like to do. But I don't know yet. I don't know if it's going to be possible. TDITLU says, okay, cool. Good idea to have a special case for objects far away from the camera. Yeah, I want to do a lot more advanced level of detail stuff. Like, right now, these meshes are still one-to-one with, like, the blocks that are in the world and the meshes that exist. But I want to be able to eventually have level of detail where, at a certain distance, any, like, rendered volume here represents like a 2x2 grid of blocks, and then a 4x4 grid, and then like so on and so forth. So as you get increasingly further away, the blocks get lower resolution, but like you can't really tell because it's in the distance, but it reduces like the amount of polygons, and lets me render a really, really large area. That's the goal anyways. Yeah, I'm probably gonna wrap this stream up soon because I'm quite busy today. I'm trying to not only do the stream but also finish my script for my video and then finish the script read as well. Because I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks after this. I'm going on a little trip to visit family and finish up the school project. So I'm not gonna have any opportunity to record lines because I don't have a good recording studio in my parents' house, which are in there who I'm visiting. So yeah, I'm gonna have to end the stream pretty soon. First of all, to have time to work on making the script, like finishing the script and reading it, and also just because I could already feel my voice fading. You know, I have a limited amount of talking that I can actually feasibly do in a day before my body's just like, oh, wow, your vocal cords hurt and you don't want to say anything and you sound all raspy. So, yeah, I will be ending the stream pretty soon so that I can hopefully get that done, because I really don't want to put it off for another 2 weeks. Is this running in an SDL window or is it web? This is all running in SDL. You might be thinking it's web because of all the JavaScript, but this is a voxel engine that's written in C++ and it's rendered natively. But all of the game content is defined in JavaScript mods. So like all of the block definitions, all of the entity interactions, all of the entities themselves, like the skybox, that's all using JavaScript, using an official modding API, but it is still running natively in C++. I have considered trying to make a web target for it, but I think that's going to be pretty difficult, given that I do a lot of weird stuff with V8, because like I embed V8 itself into my project. And I don't think that you can embed V8 in WebAssembly in V8. I'm not sure if that's possible, and I don't know if just like a regular JavaScript runtime environment would have the power that I need to let mods run properly. So that's still something I need to think about, but it's possibly an option. Jasper says, difficult problem. I assume you're talking about liquid still. Yeah, you can use a sort of LOD system, but only for liquids, and only do the math on the LODs/highest detail. Oh. You know, I've never thought about that. Like, you're effectively talking about treating the water volumes like an octree, sort of, right? Like, basically collapsing the actual liquid data into the lowest precision representation that it could have. That's actually... that's a really good idea. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, that might introduce some new ideas here for how I might do that. Although the data representation for that's going to be kind of hell, so I'll definitely need to think about that. It's like, blocks right now are just stored in a flat array per chunk, and I couldn't really do that with water if I wanted to have the water volumes be like stored as an octree. That said, I think that's a really good idea, and that's probably worth thinking about, so I'll definitely keep that in mind. Maybe I'll start prototyping that. Maybe that'll be my next self-directed study, because I have one more before I graduate. Or maybe that's far too ambitious for that, and I'd be risking failure for no good reason. But we'll see. Yeah, but just on the topic of what we've done today, I'm really happy that we got the paste mechanics working. I know this is an incredibly simple example, it's just one building and then one secondary structure here, but this is a recursive process that can place structures like as much as we want to generate an actual world, which is which is really exciting, because I really want to be able to get, like, cool dungeons and stuff in my engine. And also, I just really need to get this done, so seeing it work is super encouraging. There's definitely a lot to do, and I'll probably work on it a lot off-stream, because I have a super, super close deadline coming up, which means I'll be able to show it off when I get back. Wow, good work, thank you. You could use duct tape or something similar if you don't want to include the V8 engine, but I don't know how much logic you have in JavaScript. I haven't seen duct tape before. I'm using V8 because it's, like, powered by Google and it supports WebAssembly. I don't know if duct tape does. Is it just JavaScript, or does it support WASM as well? Either way, I'm far too deep in V8 to change now. It would just more be out of interest to hear what it's doing. Like, I have thousands of lines of code written specifically for the V8 engine. Ducttape.org. Embeddable JavaScript engine. Wow. Does it support WASM? I don't see WebAssembly mentioned in the page. Yeah, I've already gone too far with having V8 to actually work on swapping it out at this point. But that is really cool. I might consider using it for a future project. Or maybe... this is cursed, but maybe I could include JavaScript as a mod somehow, like a sandbox JavaScript engine which uses duct tape compiled to WebAssembly, and then run in my JavaScript engine in my game as a mod. But that's, that would be kind of unhinged. CK33122 says, why not Lua? I used Lua for like a couple years actually for this project. It was the initial scripting language of choice for me, but I ended up abandoning it basically because of how fragmented the environment is for its runtimes. Like, you're either using core Lua, which is up to date and actually getting changes that people want, but it's super slow and not really performant enough to do complex real-time JavaScript, or I mean scripting stuff in. Or you use LuaJIT, which is just in time, it's really fast, it's great, but the creator doesn't like the new versions of Lua and has basically just decided that they're not going to support them, which means that it's atrophying on like a 5-year-old version of the language and probably never going to get the newer features. And also there's just not good tooling for actually bundling Lua, and there's not as good like developer tools for like IntelliSense and stuff, and the scoping of Lua variables is super weird, and it's just all things that I'm not super comfortable with, like, hinging my engine on. If people want to work in Lua, I can, like, it's trivially easy to make a WebAssembly shim that just embeds the Lua engine, and then just exposes all of the JavaScript functions as Lua functions if people wanted to use Lua to make mods. But I didn't want to bind the language, I didn't want to make it the official language of the engine because I was just too worried about how limited it was right now. And how limited it looks like it's going to be. God, I feel like I'm like... You know how... You know how when you talk to like an old person and they just start talking and then they ramble and then seem to forget what they're initially talking about? I feel like that's me right now because my room is getting really, really warm and my brain is starting to turn to jello. So I hope I'm not completely incoherent. There are some extensions right now that are pretty great. I'm basically doing object-oriented programming with types, like in Lua? That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I probably need to end the stream if nothing else but to just turn on the air conditioner again. I wonder how hot it is in my room. Do you guys want to know what I'm currently dealing with? It is apparently only 24 on the thermostat, but I don't know if I actually believe that. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Laughlin's art. Alright guys, I think this is gonna be it for me. I had a lot of fun chatting with you all today, and I'm really happy with what we accomplished here. I usually stream every Saturday. However, I won't be available, I won't be streaming for the next 2 weeks because I'm visiting family, like I mentioned. But I will send an announcement in my Discord server when I'm back and starting to do that again. So if you're interested in that, there's a link in the bottom right of the screen. There's a lot of cool people there. It's very, very cozy and nice, and we're almost at 300 members. I think we're at 298 or something, which is exciting. But yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. This is great. I'll see you in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I guess. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Bye, all. I never know if I should just sit here to wait for, like, the stream delay to let people say bye back so I can read out the messages, or if I should just leave, but then they might think that, like, oh, they're not going to, like, they might think that I'm not reading the messages, but I do. I read them. But then I always feel like I want to respond to the byes anyways. Yeah, there we go. Bye, Zan. Bye, Jasper. Bob Ross says Alt Bear. That is Bob Ross, right? Yeah, cool story, Bob. Bye, Alt Bear. Alright, bye, everyone.